host, back with my bestie, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good. How are you?
Do you have your cocktail, Nikki?
I do. I don't know if this is gonna upset you or not, but I have my pumpkin beer with me.
of, of course you do.
Of course I do.
Of course
I'm
you
a
have
basic
pumpkin
ass bitch.
beer.
I had to represent on this podcast.
I'd gotten home from the gym. I had no intention of drinking today, by the way. I went
Me
to the gym
either.
this afternoon and had a good workout, and I'm feeling good about myself. And our guest, Pat Vellner, sends me a DM and goes, "Hey, are we having cocktails tonight?" And when a Canadian asks if you're drinking, you got to drink. That's the rule. So I poured a tequila. So thank you, Pat. It's your fault.
I'll own that. Look, I figure I didn't want to be the guy that showed up unprepared, so I just wanted to get together,
Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. And to be honest, I needed it. It was just, it's been a
Same.
rough 3 or 4 days at the gym and work and kids and life. So I'm like, all right, I can drink on a Tuesday. Why not?
You weren't that hard to convince.
Yeah, well, you don't have to twist my arm very hard, Pat. There's no doubt. Thanks for coming on though, dude. We haven't talked to you and it's been like 2 years,
I
bro.
know. We were just talking
That
about, I
right?
think the last time that we had you on, like the pandemic had just started and like lockdown was new, and you were like telling us how you were working out like in your kitchen because you like didn't have
yeah.
access to the gym or whatever.
Man, didn't those last 2 years just like disappear?
Yeah. What is time?
They have flown by so fast. I feel like I've been living vicariously through your baby, though. I have to be honest. Like, I love watching babies grow up. I love it so much, particularly when they're in Owen's age right now, where they're in that toddler phase and they're like amateur CrossFitters at open gym. They're just throwing shit everywhere and just running around like crazy people. I love that so much. So it's been a fun little journey,
Yeah,
even though we haven't had a chance to talk to you.
Yeah, he's fun right now. He's like point where he likes to put things into drawer for the last couple months. He's been really good at taking, and now he's starting to like to put things away. Lovely, but he's like walking around and he's just very, very active. So it's a lot of fun. He's learning fast. Nikki, how's your baby?
Dude, it's so much fun. Like he just turned one. He turned one while we were at games, actually.
Okay.
And I feel like for the last maybe like 5 or 6 months, every time we hit a new milestone, I'm like, oh, this month is the most fun. No, 7 months is the most fun. No, oh my God, 9 months is the most fun. And so now that we're at 12 months, I don't know. It's just so much fun. Unfortunately, little man has like 4 teeth coming in at once. So it's been a little bit of a rough go at it the last week or two. I feel like I've given him like an entire bottle of Tylenol in the last week. Poor thing. But no, things are going really good. I can't complain. Truly.
Well, I gotta tell you gotta look forward to like the best time.
Really?
Here is it. You keep that never goes away. You keep because I totally felt like that, and now I think you more in the little things. Like I miss his little having, and there's things that you like, but they get replaced by something else. That's awesome. So it's really fun.
I know. We finally have like the memories that pop up on our phones and stuff. That's like 1 year ago or whatever. And when he was just like a tiny little nugget, just like a little bean. And this morning, Matt said to me that he was small for 5 minutes. Like he was tiny for 5 minutes. I don't know what happened.
It's crazy. And I'm sure, I mean, I say it at that point when they're like 13 or 14 that this is the best time.
So before we get any farther, I'm loving this conversation. Before we get any farther, Pat, your audio is jacked up, dude. I don't.
I'm telling you.
I know. I don't know why. It's all jacked up. It keeps cutting out. It's like it's the same thing I do when my boss calls and I don't want to take his call. It's like every other word just drops. I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't hear you, Oss. That's what it sounds like.
John, that was a really good impression of someone with bad audio. I feel like you're too practiced at that.
I've done that more than once in my life, Nikki.
I was like, for a second, I was like, oh shit, John has the same. Wait a minute.
No. I get a lot. I have a you know, I have a real job. I get a lot of calls from people above me, and sometimes you just gotta you just gotta roll with it. You know,
Mm.
it's just one of those things.
I do a lot of calls with people below me, and they do that to me. Am I the boss?
Yes, you
Oh,
are. You're the
come
boss bitch,
on.
right? Like
Well,
you're
yes, I am the boss bitch, but am I the boss that everyone fake cuts out on Zoom with? That's the
didn't you
question.
guys just have your anniversary? Like
We
your
did. Yeah, fire team is 2 years old. Isn't that bananas?
dude, that's nuts.
Do you remember when I called you and I was like, I'm quitting my job?
What's the biggest thing you've learned in 2 years?
I think well, I mean, we've learned a lot. I think that like just the nature of business being really up and down, right? Like there's no guarantees in any way, shape, or form that you're gonna like have clients, make money, do whatever. But since in 2 years we went from just three of us, like me and my two partners, to six total. So we have 3 employees. And I take like having people's salaries and stuff very, very seriously. So I've just
As you
learned
should.
to manage. Yeah, I know. I've just learned to manage that whole like up and down nature of business a little bit more and like, I don't know, like not panic when something doesn't go right, but also like manage it appropriately so that you have like money in the bank in case things go wrong. Like
Yeah.
that's a big learning process, I feel like.
Hey, it's important. It's
Yeah.
important. So Pat's back.
Hey,
All right. Let me know if it's bad again.
it's still
Well,
bad.
is it?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what to tell you.
I
I
blame
got full
Canada.
bar. I mean, I
You
do
got
live on
you got all the bars?
Maybe it'll fix
all
itself.
the
You
bars.
never know.
Data, but I promise you
Oh,
that's
what
not
is
going to
going
be.
on? No,
Telling
they can't
you.
hear him at all now. And I have no control in this end, Pat, for the record. All I can do is raise your audio. I can't control the speed in which it comes in.
This network connection 10 on 10.
Oh, okay. You know what? Let's roll with it. We got the comments are saying that you sound a little bit better. So
Now I can't hear either of you. Can you hear me, Nikki?
yes, I can hear you. I can hear
Just
Pat
nod at
too.
me
Oh
if
my
you
God,
can hear
what's
me.
wrong? Oh my God.
What the hell is going on here?
So we need like a 20-year-old.
That's the problem. We're really all way too old to be dealing with this. All right, cool. Well,
Technology.
I feel like everyone else can hear us. John, can you hear us? Oh, John can't hear us. Oh no. Well,
Hearing
Hold
aid
on.
is random.
Hold on.
hey, John, are your hearing aids on?
Yes, I'm back.
Oh no, that's of course what you decided to
I'm
listen
back.
to.
Yes, they're on now. I can hear you now. All right. Are we all good? Are we all good?
I think so. We're at least good for a minute. Let's let Pat chat for a minute because we'll see.
Now I want to know if he's just fucking with me. I think-
No, not intentionally.
Next time we're just
All right.
flying Pat to Cleveland.
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
We'll just fly everybody to Rhode Island. We can just all do this together in Nikki's
We
new house.
truly could. We can do it in my new house. I have room for everyone.
I know.
Can't say that the rooms are finished, but I have them.
You're the
better
pro,
at all?
Nikki. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Maybe we have something.
All right. Well, let's see how long that lasts.
All right, let's roll with it. So I feel like we left off with Pat, you telling me that like the best times are yet to come. So what is going on, man? What's going on with you and your family? Like, we're what, a month and a little out from games, and what's your life looking like since the last time we saw you out on the field of play?
Well, I'm working, and my wife's working a ton. She's actually off island right now, working. She's got the baby. Her parents are visiting. She's got the dog, and it's just me hanging out, getting back to working out a little bit, exercising, not training.
Really?
Was-
Oh, nope. I lost him
Is
again.
my
Do we
audio
have him? I lost him.
brutal
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a hot mess.
Ah.
He could just move his lips, and I can just say things to make it sound like it's Pat.
Well, did you see this
Right.
comment that just came in?
Mm-mm. What did it say? I used to
I
work.
used to work at the Arby's drive-thru. I'll translate for Pat's audio.
Yeah, there you go.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Yes. That's pretty good. I like that.
Do you think it's this like connection issue?
Maybe.
Like Kenna doesn't want to talk to us.
Who do we had we had this issue last week though.
Kind
Like
of.
you and I don't have a connection issue.
That's what I'm saying.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we normally don't have an issue with the third connection. That's the thing.
yeah. I
All
don't
right.
know.
All right, this is
Got nothing.
Nope.
I don't know, man. I've had this happen to me once. No solution.
Are you on a phone or a laptop?
Phone.
On a phone?
Yeah.
Let me think about what.
Oh, whatever, Lance. Lance said drop Nikki and see if that helps.
Yeah, I don't.
Lame. Actually, I can try. Do you want me to try that?
No, I don't think that. No, because your connection is good.
Whatever, Lance. Come on, man.
Like it
Hmm.
says every.
Are you on Wi-Fi or normal connection?
And on the extension and on cell data, and none of them were better.
Here's what I would suggest as kind of a last ditch effort is
Restart your phone.
restart the phone and ditch the AirPods. That's
Try
my
it.
last ditch effort. And Nikki and I will just vamp until then.
Let's try it.
We're gonna vamp.
Nobody is on this live stream right now for us. I'm just throwing that out there. Not a single person.
Everyone's here for us, Nikki. Everyone.
Are they though?
No, not at all.
Not even close.
Not at all. It's all good though.
Yeah, no big
It's all
deal.
good. I'm barely surviving my training right now.
Well, I was
for
gonna
whatever.
ask, like you said that well, first of all, how many days until the gauntlet? That's the real question.
Well, I mean, it's first week of January, so I got 90 days basically.
Okay.
And it is so brutal. I'm not going to go into the full details here, but it's like a really intense nutrition regimen, which does not include this tequila, I might add, if either of my coaches are watching. And the training is nuts. Totally nuts. I mean, it's 4 days a week at my affiliate and then 2 days a week at a different affiliate where I'm
Dang.
working on stuff that would apply for the gauntlet.
And it's a single person comp, or are you going to be on a team?
No, it's just single person. It's just you just sign up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even view it as a comp. I'm just trying to give my best effort. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to win. I just don't want to go out there and look like an asshole. So,
Explain what the gauntlet is. Mark just asked in the chat.
well, so it's essentially a 60-minute workout. They give you like 5 in years past, they give you like 5 workouts. We'll call it, just for the sake of this discussion, we'll call it 10, 5 10-minute AMRAPs with 2 minutes in between each one. And they're usually couplets and triplets. Last year, for instance, one of the 10-minute windows, you had to do a 3-rep max of an overhead squat. Then you had another 10-minute window where you're doing 2-minute max cows on an echo bike.
Gross.
Then you have like 3 other Metcons. One was like a 18-minute AMRAP, another one was like a 6-minute, another one was like 8 minutes, like something like that.
Right. So it's 60 minutes, 60 minutes
Give or
of
take.
working out.
Yeah, give or take.
An hour of working out.
Yeah, and it's a lot of couplets and triplets. It's just a lot of work. Like it's an hour's worth of work, and so I'm just trying to give my best effort. That's all. I'm not trying to win. I'm just, I don't want to go out there and look like I've never done CrossFit before.
Fair. Totally fair. Totally fair.
And, there are other things that, I have other goals too. Like I want to do really well in the Open next year. So this is a good lead into that. So that's why I'm kind of taking it to the extreme. But man, it's killing me. And I have this little minor injury right now. My middle finger.
No.
Is like I've pulled something and it's all swollen.
Oh.
And it really hurts when I do pull-ups or cleans or anything like that. So I'm like kind of working through a little injury right now, and it's a big pain in the ass.
I find that those minor injuries or those like, you call it minor, but like, you didn't like break your leg, whatever. Those injuries that you kind of can work through are honestly sometimes the worst because
Yeah.
they impact way more than just like, oh, I'm going to avoid this one movement or whatever. Hello.
All right, let's see how this goes.
All right, we're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna give it our best shot.
So far, did that not?
What do you think, Nikki?
I'm okay. I don't know.
All right, well, let's see.
If the old off and on just works, then man,
Then we don't need a 20-year-old. Look at us go.
technology. Hit it a couple times.
Yeah, it's
Blow
still,
on it.
yeah, it's still breaking up though.
Damn it.
I know.
I don't know. It's happened to me like twice, and usually there's no issue. I don't know the explanation. I wish I did.
No, it's all good.
See
It's
if I
all good.
can,
Did I see in your story that Emily Roth was babysitting your dog? Did I see that?
Yeah.
So funny.
I love that so much. She's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. I was like, every time I see stuff like it, never like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to call myself a casual observer, but I am like, and all of a sudden there's Emily with your dog. I'm like, what's Emily with Pat's dog? What is going on?
Everybody knows everybody in Canada.
I know. It's just, it's so weird. So weird.
Nice to, I mean, I'm sure he got a lot of great runs in. It's a good, not a bad dog sitter to have.
Yeah, no shit.
That's true.
No
Your
shit.
dog comes back and he's just like lean and yoked.
I do appreciate the fact that you went all in, baby and puppy, all at the same time. Man, that's a bold move.
He was like 2 now. I'm 1.5 by the time we had the baby. So we were gonna get a second dog when we got pregnant. So we took ours really quick.
Matt used to joke about that all the time when we were trying to get pregnant. He was like, let's just get a puppy too. Let's just buck it. Like, just go all in. Let's do it. And I was like, it's hard pressed to find me turning down a puppy. So, like, I would low-key do it, but I'm glad we didn't.
It's nice when there's only one thing shitting in the house at a time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've got 2 now because our old dog just kind of like does whatever. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
How old is Owen now? Is he 1?
He's like 15
months. So you're good. Are you guys potty training already? You got to be getting close.
It's still not. Like, we'll see. We're not actively doing anything with him yet. But he's, he just started walking more confidently and things like that. So, one thing at a time, bathroom, and then we'll start to work on the rest of it.
Dude, I have my ex-wife. She is a determined woman. And when my oldest was about Owen's age, I want to say she was 18 months old. My ex was like, I'm going to potty train this kid. And she took that kid in the bathroom for 18 hours and didn't leave. Swear to God. She had like a crate of like juice boxes and toys. And I left the house. She's like, just go do something. Go away. When you come back, the kid will be potty trained. And I shit you not, that kid was potty trained in 1 day.
No.
Swear to God. It was unreal.
That's
dude, it was serious commitment. Every time she'd do something, she'd praise her and, cheer and clap and whatever.
That sounds like she was held hostage in the bathroom is what it sounds like.
Hey, it's better than being held hostage by diaper bills.
There's going to be some therapy down the line for that one. Probably experience.
She can still never pee unless she's holding a juice box.
Yeah. Every time she goes, I still have to clap. That's the rule. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice. Every time I hear the toilet flush, I'm like, nice job, baby girl. Good job. Good. You did great. She's 20 now. She's like, thanks, Dad. Where's my juice box? It's good.
Oh, that's impressive. We were kind of like that with sleep training, but I a stickler on the potty training. I don't know. We'll see.
How has the sleep training been? Is he good? He's through the night and
He's great on that. Honestly, how much you share with everybody who's having kids, because some people really struggle any rhyme or reason sometimes, but he's always been a really good sleeper. So we're pretty lucky. We decided we were going to sleep train him, and he's slept through the night ever since. He was like 7 months old.
have you felt any like huge changes in your own life having a kid now, or have you just gotten in such a groove you don't feel like much of a difference?
Well, we didn't have time, so we only just got daycare like a month ago, 2 months ago, and so up to then it was a lot of my wife a lot. I feel like we were like ships in the night, where like I'd rip out of the house for my training done by noon because she had to be at the hospital by 12:30, and you'd be like passing the baby off, and then you'd like see her again at 9 p.m. and you'd both go a lot of that. So we're now through that now that we've got some childcare, and that's nice. Family here, so it's a lot of just you kind of just do what you have to make it work. Amazing what you can get used to. But I think because forever since I've been doing CrossFit, up to my neck in school work or working or whatever. So that feeling of like you just get it done. And like if it means I have to train late or something over here, I just do it. And so I don't know. I think that it's just be able to be nimble and think on your feet and make things work. And so it's good. We definitely not ideal sometimes, but it's great. And like my wife's got a great career and she works a ton and eat and run around the world. And so we can't complain. We got nothing to complain about. Like we live a pretty great.
Did you say before you dropped out last time, you said that you're like now slowly starting to get back into exercising, but not really like a full-on training regimen yet? Like what's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you just it's a long season, and I think now with a lot of the invitational events, you can kind of compete all around the year, and you want to go where you're really doing it, or else you're gonna pay for it in like 4 months time. Yeah, I'm just like doing a lot of low intensity stuff, not workouts that are kind of workout weight, and a lot of erging. And today I had like the beginning of love it. So I think it's kind of starting, but this week it'll start. The intensity is still relatively low, I would say. I haven't done any weightlifting. I've mostly been like biking and rowing and like jogging. So
It's so interesting given that the seasons have changed so much in the last couple of years. And like you said, it's just so long. Like there's barely an off season. I don't even know if there is an off season, depending on how and when you want to compete. Cause there's also like out of the CrossFit Games realm competitions that are big that you want to be a part of and whatever. So really, like you said, you could compete all year round. This is particularly fun for us as fans to watch you guys kind of like wind down for a minute. And some wind down period is longer than others for different people, but to hear that you're traveling or you're kind of just like spending time with your family or you're ramping up slowly, like it's always interesting to me to hear how people are tackling their time off because you've now determined your own season timing. Like this works for me and I'm cool to take another month or whatever or ramp up slowly because that's the competition I'm going for and everyone's season is kind of different in timeline fashion.
yeah, and you've got to take the rest when you can get it. Like I both Rogue and Wadapalooza, and so you kind of have the games, then 2.5 months, then Wadapalooza, and then my time off is when I kind of dial it down a little bit for the open quarterfinal. So you just have to look at the periods where relative to your ability, you can sort of take a bit of a break or deload or just change. But I always joke that got to take your off season seriously. Like if you're all pent up energy, like you just can't do the things you want to do, that's no way to live. So yeah, like it's the games being in like the peak of summer, we kind of lose our summers. So
Yeah.
I feel it's after that first week of August, I'm like, I've had a few weddings since then. I'm up here in a couple weeks, so I'm able to like hit a few weddings, see lots of friends, travel a little bit, see her while it's still going on, and then I'll get back to training. And it's invitational style competitions where it's like a pretty big privileged rogue where there's high earning potential. It's only 20 athletes. It's fairly exclusive. Off season times, and if you want to take time to do other things, you lose. So you just have to decide like what's more important to you, or if you're going to do the competition, when are you. I think people need it, and I think I need it more now than I did when I was so I think there's some of the young kids that probably are chomping at the bit to get back to it. And when you're 20, honestly, you probably can do it, but I can't. And I start to go crazy, and you start to like, I don't know, you just start to hate training, and you're like, that's most of the time you're competing like one fraction of the time that we sport, right? You're only ever training, and then you kind of get to compete for like this, not exactly always like right ready to crawl back into that dungeon and just
No,
like
yeah, of course.
go enjoy your time when you have it.
Of course.
I'm not
No,
like ready to turn it off.
we say that all the time when we talk about like, like you said, like the young kids who are basically always ready to go and they recover in like 5 whole minutes versus, some of the athletes that we've seen season after season and what it means to have experience in the sport. And I think we talk about that a lot in terms of like not being nervous when you step out on the competition floor, like you have a plan and you're more willing to stick to it because you don't have like the energy doesn't drive you, whatever. But I don't think we ever really talk about it in that sense where you're like, you've done the in and out of competition enough times to approach the entire sport differently because you know what it's like to burn out and you don't want to get there.
Yeah, there's I've burnt out plenty when I was a gymnast. Like I've been through that. I don't want to say that like there's a best way or ideal way to do it. I think you have to work for you, but there's a real risk of that, of course. And I think that like I don't know, it's all about managing it individually, right? Like I think that people will burn out a bunch, but at the same time, like I compete as much, if not more than any other. And I like competing. And there are like at the end of the year, right? I'm so ready to have 2 months to just go do whatever I want, as much or as little as I want, and just do something completely different. The reason I'm able to do that is that I work and I do something different a few times a week where I have gears. But that to me is kind of the fun part. Like training, who prioritize the games to the level where they don't do any other competitions, go nuts. I just couldn't do that. The return wouldn't be worth it for me. He told me that if I did that every single year, I would win the games. I'm just like, I don't know if I'd be in. That just sucks. It just like kind of sucks. So I'm like, I don't know. Like I like being able to go to see people and catch up with friends and compete again. And it's hard on your body a little bit. That's what I'm here to do. Like I like the competition. I don't necessarily like the training. In fact, most of the time, right, it's not the most fun and pleasant experience. So I try to get those opportunities. Nowadays, it might become less and less just because your body can only tolerate so much. But to me, it's like those are the periods where mentally it's revitalizing. You're like, oh man, I like this because you only get to do it once every 4 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I know some people would think I'm crazy for that, but it is.
I don't think you're crazy for it. As a matter of fact, one thing I really appreciate about you, Pat, is that you are one of the rare athletes, in my opinion, that has a very normal life. You know, you got a kid, you got a wife, you have a job, you train. Like when you post stuff about your training, you're like, yeah, well, that sucked, you know, and like it's really relatable for those of us that also think all these workouts suck, you know. I love that. How do you balance all of that? Like this,
Mm.
you've obviously got this competitive fire where you like to go out and compete, but you also have this like, you know, kind of great family dynamic that you're really invested in. Like how do you find time to balance all of this?
I think it's a lot of practice, and I think it's complete, and I think that it's teamwork to a degree. Like, you know, when I was in school and living with my wife full time and all that for the last bunch of years, it's like just mean different things. Like when it's July, like I don't get to other than like train and get ready to compete, or when it's getting ready for semifinals. Like there are a month at a time where it's just kind of like everything else is a little bit just noise, and you can things and change your habits a certain way, and some things suffer. Sometimes like your relationships or family, or you just I can't go to, you know, a wedding or a funeral or whatever because you just are that are skewed a certain direction at a certain time. And one thing I've always tried to do is make sure that to that where when the games ends, you service those areas that you've neglected for the last. And you know, I never used to be able to do it as much. I'll say at school, where you're surrounded by friends all the time at school, so I don't need to work that hard at that. Friends of mine, and I didn't need to like go on a holiday after a competition to like my friends and family, right? But now, like when we go away to compete and whatever, after we compete, we'll spend 5 days. We'll go camping. We'll go to a trip somewhere to just spend time with just that. That I'm not always the most present when it comes to competing for competition or training for competition. It's like I think there needs to be a little bit of an understanding within your group, and we talk about it, that sometimes it's hard, and you gotta have your priority. It's not always this perfect balance. Like the balance is different depending. So, you know, I think that it's I've always kind of said that the things that matter to you, you make time. You don't have time for something that you care a lot about. You make time.
Are your these friends you're talking about, are they CrossFitters or not CrossFitters?
No, when I was at school, none of my friends really did CrossFit. I just kind of, I've always kind of just done it on my own every kind of step of my career. I would do like after school, that's what I went and did. Between classes, that's what I went and did, and you know, everybody else. So, but yeah, it's I world because of that. I don't have training partners or friends that I regularly like. My training's kind of like something I do off on the side, and then I come home and I live my life. I like it that way because it allows me to turn it off. I don't come home and think about my workout that I'm going to do in the afternoon. I try my have to do now, which is like wherever I am now. And it's depending on the time of year, and it's harder depending on what's coming up or what's just happened. But that's my do that, and I don't know. I've done a decent job of it so far, but I'm just like I like to think as a realist, where like life goes on. The world exists outside of CrossFit for me. You know, time was going to catch up to you, and I'm going to have to work a real job at some point anyway. So that safety net, I've built myself a life that I enjoy and I'm proud of and happy with, and not like I'm running to the gym to escape my normal life. Like I love all the things that I do. So I sit and you know, it's just sort of part of my job. I always tell people, but it's you know, everything's work. Like it's hard a lot of the time, and so
I love the ongoing joke that seems to go on with you that like, oh, Pat's 31. He's a national treasure. He's still doing this at 31 years old, like you're so old. Have you given thought as to what's next? Or are you just gonna compete until the wheels fall off?
I don't think, you know, I feel like I've retired a couple times, and not actually, but like in the scheme of things, competing, I said, I'll compete until I finish my undergrad and then like go and work. And then, you know, I started professional school and I was like, I can probably still manage. I'll compete until I finish school and then, I'll start working and I'll probably start to turn this down and then and I'm still competing and I'm like, well, maybe and I just keep pushing the needle farther and farther. And I've like talked to my wife about it and said, I don't want to be just hanging on, come in last place and everybody kind of patting you on the back at the end being like, you tried it. As long like I'm still competitive, like this year at Wadapalooza, second at Atlas, sixth at the games, like it's not nothing. I feel like for every year, even last year after I came second, everyone's like, so when are you retiring? It's like, when are you second in the world? Like why don't you shut the like what?
How no, you
like
can
people
say
are
it,
just,
you can say it. How about you shut the fuck
Yeah,
up?
shut the fuck up. You can say
I
that.
feel like
Entire world.
I feel for yeah, right. Like she's just she can't. Everybody won't shut the hell up about her retiring, and it's like, girl, 6 times in a row, she'll win 10 if she wants. Like, why don't you leave her alone? Like, fuck. Of course, she's got at some point people to priorities change and you move on. But like, I feel like let it. I mean, I look at other sports even and see like there's athletes going sports where people are really competitive in their 30s, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty adamant that way. Like, if people want to beat me until I see it, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm out of here. Then sure, but if I'm coming top 10, top 5 on podiums regularly, like, good luck getting rid of me. It's a pretty good job. You're gonna have to take it from. I don't know how else to say it. Like, so I mean, I think I've still got good. It gets harder. Like, I won't lie and say that I feel like $1,000,000 all the time. Like, keep me functioning well, right? Like, I got to put more time and energy into taking care of into rehab and things like that, more than I did, 10 years ago. And that's part of my job. The fact that I've been able to neglect it for the last 10 years is, I feel like you just have to do those things at a certain point, and that just becomes part of the game. And if it doesn't matter to you, then you don't, and then you retire.
Yeah. I think that part of why our community seems like so obsessed with those questions sometimes is because the sport is so new that people in their mid 30s truly are kind of the ones that started and founded this really competitive group that we've seen, right? Like, Ben Smith, who started basically working out when he was a teenager in his garage next to a refrigerator door, is like now barely just getting into that like quote unquote master's realm, which we've had to even take down a notch in the age category from where it first started. So it's like all people have known are you OG athletes who we see season over season after season. And it's like the young guns coming in for the very first time is really showing that dichotomy of like some of the people who really started and founded this sport are now in the older age bracket, and that age bracket is not very old. So like when you start coming into the 30s, it's like, oh shit, like here are the people we've seen for the longest time, and it is totally not accurate to life or to even other sports. But for us, I feel like it's like, oh shit, you're in your 30s, like when are you retiring? Because it's like that's all we know is we know athletes who have like started very young and gotten into that sort of very not old age bracket, but are already starting to talk about not doing this anymore. So it's like we're not our perspective is skewed.
It doesn't help, Nikki, that you got a whole bunch of athletes that are lucky to have driver's licenses at this point. They can't even buy alcohol, you
I'm
know,
saying,
like
like the dichotomy of like everyone's starting
And it
younger
can't.
and younger and getting better and better, and the best athletes we've ever seen are now like in their mid 30s, maybe early 40s, some of them, and just talking about retirement for the first time. It's just like our perspective on all that is skewed in our sport because I think it's still so young.
Yeah, there's not a lot of precedent, that's for sure.
Right, exactly.
I think that there's most people and then he retired, and then like there's just like not a lot of people decided to compete into the 30s and were continued to be competitive. Especially even I think Kristen Holta last year was like 34,
Right.
and she came fourth. I mean there's not a lot of examples of that though, right? So for sure, I think right now too, there's been a couple of years of a lot of talking about the new generation coming through, and to be honest, what it feels like sometimes is everybody just wants them winning, and they just aren't there yet. So they're all kind of just quietly wishing in the back that we, so that they're these teen athletes that they've been talking about for 2 years will start to win. It's like that's kind of I sometimes laugh at that, and it makes me want to stick. So it's I don't know. It is what it is. It's fun, and I think it's cool to see the young generation of it. Like it's weird to think because I started at the games when I was 20. That's older than a lot of the kids that are there now by a lot. Like that's like mid field right now, and that was my first year as an individual, and an individual like 7 times or something like that. So it's funny and like remembering what it was like being there my first time and talking to guys like Ben, and you're the guy with 6-7 years of experience, and kids that are there just who are 20 older than them. It's just hilarious. I feel like every now and then you end up in a conversation where you them, and you're like, right.
Right.
I love the moments of the games though, Pat. I wanted to ask you about this because it was one of the most memorable moments of the games, and I forget the entire workout, but the one that had the parallel bars and the dips. And you finished that thing, and you had this moment where you had 3 reps to go, and you did 2, and you looked at the crowd like, yeah, this shit's about to happen, right? And then you give them you give them one of these. It was like a real like kind of cinematic moment, right? Is that just something that happens in the moment, or because you're such a humble guy. When everything I know about you and talk to you, like you seem like a really low key, humble guy to me. But then in competition, you become like this other person. Is it noticeable to you, or is it like, how does that come about?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if you notice it really. I think a lot of the time you just you focus so much on what you're that it's easy to lose yourself in those periods. Like it probably is not super. It's like a different person on the floor, and then you kind of snap out of it when you finish. But those particular kind of moments, I think, are somewhat rare. I think you can see, like Justin last year in the last event when he was going to win that last workout and going to win the games. There's moments of clarity that slip in where you're like, and you just do it's everything you can muster to just get across the line. Or ones where you're in such a tight race that you're so focused until that final opportunity to like take it in or realize what's happening. And then there's for some athletes where you're just clearly, sometimes in the weightlifting workouts where it's a 1 rep max of something, and you and it's just you, and you've won and whatever, where I think you can really take in the atmosphere more in the field and just like really enjoy it. I've joked with people that typically the types of workouts I've won, you're like finishing really hard, and it's not like you're sort of until that last minute, and then you come across and you're trying to like not collapse. So it's hard. So this was just a fun one. I have no, I didn't expect the parallel bars to be as significant as they were. And it was the hard one to keep track of. There was back and forth. So I think like it coming to the bars on the last round, the clock, and I knew I had about like, I think when I got to the last set of cleans, when I started the last round, I had like 2 to win the workout, and no one in our heat was even close to me. And I was like, oh. And you can kind of go in standing up and like take a little break and take it in and enjoy those things. So a lot of opportunities to do that, but it is cool when you can kind of snap out of your phone and like realize how cool it is that we get to do that and what's going on and what we do. We get to, not a lot of athletes get to do that either. Like there's not a lot of people winning events, and there's not a lot of people winning them in a way that allows you to like walk across the line and really so it was cool. It's a cool experience to do that. I wish I would have done it a few more times.
Well, it was one of the most, I thought it was one of the most memorable moments of the week. And as a spectator, just like watching it, I'm just like hanging out, in the stands drinking beer, like watching it go down and going, oh shit, that was cool. Like that was really cool. So
it felt cool. I'm glad you said.
No, it did. It was very cool, and like that's I think the game's got a lot of, I don't know, Nikki, maybe you were on the floor, so you probably felt it different than I did even, but I felt like there was a lot of undue criticism of how the games were streamed, and when I see moments like that, I'm like, holy shit, like this is the stuff that needs to be highlighted, because people would be like, I need to watch this for a second.
Yes, there is only undue criticism of how the games is streamed. Thank you very much. It's like the same as the people who like sit on the couch and eat Cheetos and they're like, oh my God, you're so slow at that move, Pat Vellner. It's like, that's how people watch the stream. And they're like, oh, you guys, this totally sucks. I'm like, you just get back in this truck and do it then. Y'all don't know shit, but that's just me.
I think
maybe
I think one of the problems with streaming is always that like they probably did show me, but they probably showed me mostly, and then maybe whoever was in second for a bit here and there, and then everybody gets pissed because they're there to watch. So probably a lot of people did see my thing, but they also wanted to see, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're in 4th or 7th or something, like you're FaceTime, and that's just the way it is. So like there's, that's when it comes to those kind of like competitions, right? So it's a huge hurdle.
You'll never please everyone with what they want to see. And you're totally right. Like I think it's oftentimes like trying to tell the story of who's winning and why, because that's what we're all there to see. And then there's sometimes other storylines that they can follow, like so-and-so's coming back from injury, let's watch them in this heat, or like Pat's an excellent gymnast, he might not have an issue with this movement where everyone else did, like, and trying to balance the story and the fact that like we all know and love each other so much that we want to see each other all the time on the screen and in the broadcast, but most people are tuning in for the storyline of who's winning and how and why is that happening. And so, but you're right, that is typically, I think, the biggest criticism we get is like, show this other person, and I'm like, why? They're bombing. Why?
Yeah, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it.
I'm helping you out. No need.
Hey, I keep reminding everyone when they mention that workout, they're like, that was awesome. So I remind everybody that 35th on the shuttle to overhead, and I'm like, just remember, I know that video bars gets a lot of play, but just remember, it's not all about what you see on social media.
That's true. I do like that you take it all in strides, sir. You do.
You got to be able to laugh at yourself,
Well, the other thing I wanted to ask, because we're kind of butting up against our time here, but I want to talk about the after party for a second. So at some point during the after party, I was like videoing. I didn't realize what I was videoing, but all of a sudden I go back and look at the video, and there's Pat Vellner. Looks like it was, I don't know if Nikki, have you ever been to a bar mitzvah? You're Jewish. You've
Is
been
that a
to
question?
you've been to like
Hell
dozens
yeah,
of bat
I've been to
mitzvahs,
like
right?
thousands of bar
So
mitzvahs.
Uncle
Let's
Pat
go.
here was like in the middle of Hava Nagila, up on someone's shoulders. I think Paul Trimley's shoulders, I might
Oh
add.
my.
Dude, it was epic. It
Yeah,
was,
do either of you know Paul Tremblay well?
Yes, of course.
he's coming on the show in like 3 or 4 episodes from now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh man, that guy is an absolute beauty. There's no other way to describe him. He is just a thoroughbred. So and he was very adamant about hanging out at the after party, and he would beers. He was going hard. So at some point, he's like, "You got to get up on my shoulder." So we walked into the middle of the dance floor and boosted it up pretty good. But
Dude,
if
nothing
you ever
I
find
love
yourself
more
at an
than
after
watching CrossFit
party,
athletes
go
drink.
find him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paul is a great dude, and I'm excited to get him on
Fantastic.
to talk about what CrossFit's doing. But yeah, you guys were having fun. Here was the impressive thing for me in the after party. I went and hung out with the Australian group for a minute, and they were far too rowdy for me. Those guys are fucking nuts. Every one of them, they're crazy. They're like ripping shirts off and like playing rugby and shit. And then the Canadian group was in a different corner, and you guys were pretty low key. I was surprised for Canadians. You guys can hold your alcohol. It was impressive. And then
that's all we do.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. Then I went and hung out with some other friends that will remain nameless, but competed that week, and they'd all had like one margarita and were smashed because they don't drink at all. It's like watching the dichotomy of CrossFit athletes of who can and can't drink is hysterical. The after party is the best part of the games.
I wish they scored it.
Oh, you
sad.
have,
I'm sad I missed it.
That's a lot of years. A lot of years of post-secondary, so I can hold a drink down.
You would
Not
you
too
would
bad
have
at
an entire Canadian podium if they scored the after party as part of the games. There's no doubt in my mind.
I don't know. I think they surprise you.
The Australians were doing pretty good. I rolled into before the after party. I met some friends at a hotel bar, and it was Jay Crouch and Rob Forte and some of their friends, and they had a stack of beer cans.
Rob Forte is a legend.
Oh, I love Rob so much. He is such a good dude. Dude, they had a stack of beer cans that were like 40 high, and it was like 7 p.m. It wasn't like the night had not even started yet. And they acted like, I mean, they were just warming up. They were like stretching
early. They had time. Sometimes Sunday nights would go late in competition and there wasn't as much time. But
I appreciated that this year. I have to not be like coming out of there in the dark. You kind of had time to go out to just do whatever you wanted to do. Get as rowdy as you wanted.
Yeah.
The Australians had time to drink.
Oh, they had plenty of time. They were just warming up though. They were just stretching, just getting ready, and they had a good time.
Well, we're bringing a babysitter next year because this was like the first games in many, many, many years that I wasn't able to go to the after party, and I was really bummed. And I was bummed that like Matt couldn't come with me because he would have had a good time. But next year,
we had my parents were there. A couple friends from home come, and one of them has a young kid as well who's like more than that now, but 8 months, 9 months old. But my parents were there and they didn't come out, so they just did babysitting duty in the evening, so it was perfect.
Oh, shoot. I should have just given the baby to your parents next time.
Oh man, we should have put it out there, ran a date ahead and fueled the beer fund. Maybe I could have got to 40 beers,
right? Man, look at me not supporting my local athletes. Bummer.
Dude,
next time.
I have an 18 and a 20-year-old. I should just bring them with.
You should.
And just create a babysitting service for the after party. I mean, everybody's got kids now.
Oh my God, 10 out of 10
kids now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I would have totally taken you up on that. I would have taken you up on that all week. Actually, Matt was on like such hardcore dad duty. It's a lot. It's a lot being like the support person for someone who's working. I mean, I consider you working there, Pat, being an athlete, or me, I was just working. But it's a lot being that support person for the person who has a time and place they need to be there. And then also having a baby. It's a lot.
It's a lot for sure. We were actually so we stayed at the Alliance Center there. So that we could have like, my wife could just like run to the like my room there and put the baby to sleep in the middle of the day. And then between events, I could like walk over and she'd be in the room and the baby be chilling, and it was good. Those are long days, and they're also like, I mean, this year they were long hot days.
Yeah. Yes.
Like infant.
Love that. Nikki, did I ever tell you about about the time that Pat's wife accidentally messaged me thinking she was sending Pat a message?
I think you did.
Oh, this was the best. Somebody, I think, if I'm remembering the story right, CrossFit Games had just launched their podcast, and they had Ricky on. And so I just did a tweet that said something along the lines of, "Man, it's a damn shame they'd have Ricky on before they'd have Pat. That's just dumb, you know?" And she sent it to me and said, "LOL, John's your biggest fan." And now I've become a pro at this. I've become a pro at knowing when people send stuff to me mistakenly. So I knew she didn't mean for it to come to me. So I just responded, "Who?" Like all innocent. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was sending that to Pat." I'm like, "Well, I am Pat's biggest fan, but I appreciate you sending it."
Accurate.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was so
I'm
fun.
glad. Sometimes she's pretty hardcore with this stuff she'll send. Be like verbose, maybe. So I'm glad it was such a nice, gentle one.
Succinct.
Well, trust me, I get plenty of things that aren't so gentle sent to me by accident. So I personally was disappointed. I prefer to get the harsh stuff, but I appreciate it. It was pretty funny, to
Plus,
say the least.
Those are fun.
Yeah, they're always fun. Well, dude, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Sorry about the connection issues, and I guess you guys are running on
It
AOL.
was either got a lot better, or you guys were really.
I'm just interpreting every third word and making it work.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in the edit, and I'm just going to add whatever I think you said. I'm just going to put words in your mouth.
Just dub
your own voice.
Thing. It'll be like an old martial arts movie.
Yep.
I actually have this woman I work with occasionally on the meme page. You've seen them probably, that will do bad lip readings for videos. Yeah. I'm just gonna have her do that for you. It's just gonna be an entire episode of bad lip.
Perfect. All right. Well, I give you a creative license, whatever you want me to say. Just throw it in there.
You don't want to do that. Trust me.
I can handle it. Are you guys either of you gonna be out at like Rogue or Wadapalooza or anywhere else in the next while?
Well, we were talking about that actually when you had to log off for a minute. We don't. Nick, are you going to Wadapalooza? Do we know yet?
I don't know yet. I haven't been asked. I have not been asked for Rogue. I have never been asked for Rogue, so I'm not expecting that to come through. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe Waza will work out this year. I couldn't go last year. I was asked, and this was like the most heartbreaking thing that's ever happened in my CrossFit reporting career. We were going to go down as a family, and then like Omicron was real bad. And my pediatrician was like, "You absolutely cannot travel with your like 5-month-old. It's way too dangerous." And I was like, fuck. So we stayed home.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm hoping it comes through this year. Fingers crossed.
I might go to Rogue. Rogue will be a game time decision for me. I'm definitely going to Wadapalooza. We were talking off the on the air, but you were off the air, that I'm going to do the gauntlet this year. So I've gone all in my training to not look like an asshole when I'm out there doing the gauntlet. So I'm like really invested in Wadapalooza to make sure I'm not an idiot.
Those workouts are no joke. I actually love watching like that stuff, obviously. But sometimes I look at those and I'm like, that would be such a punish. I'm so glad that we don't have to do that. And I love watching people themselves. It's so good. It's
an hour long.
I know. Well, look.
So yeah, if you just like step over the line on one of the early ones, you're just the next so miserable or something like that. Like you can totally undo yourself at any point. Like, man, I don't know. If you went in there and just, you got to be careful. You got to know yourself.
Dude, I have gone all in. Like I mean, you can't even make this shit up. This won't surprise you, but I'm really anal retentive about everything. And so I've hired a nutrition coach and like I've changed my whole training regimen, like mostly because I've done this for a decade and I don't want to go out there and look like I've never worked out before, because I agree with you. Like you can go out there and like the first 10 minutes of this workout blow your entire thing up and
Yeah.
just look like an idiot. And I just don't want to
Oh,
let that
dude.
happen.
Be a slug for the rest of it. I think it's so good. It's good because every heat that goes out there, there's for sure one person who's just gonna absolutely like, oh yeah, just don't don't come last. It's the same game plan as always. Same game plan I had. Don't come last.
Yeah.
Don't look stupid.
Yeah.
Don't come last.
Yeah.
That's kind of my plan. So we're definitely going to Wadapalooza. We're going to host a cocktail party at Downtown Strength and Fitness, which is going to be fun. Kind of our first Kettlebells and Cocktails cocktail party. So you're invited, but I know you're competing, so you're probably not going to be drinking. Your wife can come. How about that?
Oh, I'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah, she totally has an invite. Bring the baby. We'll have a babysitter there. It'll be fun. It'll be good stuff.
Sounds awesome.
So hopefully we'll get to Rogue and we'll get to see you there one way or another. But
be nice.
All right, well, this has been fun, dude. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
As always.
Glad we kind of got the sound figured out.
Yeah, I think Canada's moved into full AOL dial-up category at this point. It's perfect.
Wow.
It's really good. Yeah, it's good stuff. Love it.
Problem. My neighbor was using the phone, so I wasn't getting good internet.
Right. That's got to be it.
Yeah, it's nothing but party lines in Canada. It's great.
Yeah, one every 3 houses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's all you need. But healthcare is free, so you've got that.
Truly, at that in that respect, let's just all go.
Yep.
All right, see you guys.
Right, well, all right, thanks, Pat. Nikki,
Bye,
great
Pat.
seeing you as always.
Likewise.
And for everyone listening, we'll chat with you guys tomorrow night.